Coming up on 5 Minute News. Gay marriage bill signed into US law. Bolsonaro supporters attack police in January 6-style violence. And extreme weather brings tornadoes to US South. It's Wednesday, December 14. I'm Anthony Davis. A celebratory crowd of thousands bundled up on a chilly Tuesday afternoon to watch President Joe Biden sign gay marriage legislation into law, a joyful ceremony that was tempered by the backdrop of an ongoing far-right Republican backlash over gender issues. This law and the love it defends strike a blow against hate in all its forms, Biden said on the South Lawn of the White House. And that's why this law matters to every single American. Lawmakers from both parties attended Tuesday's ceremony, reflecting the growing acceptance of same-sex unions, once among the country's most contentious issues. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer wore the same purple tie to the ceremony that he wore to his daughter's wedding. She and her wife are expecting their first child in the spring. Thanks to the millions out there who spent years pushing for change, and thanks to the work of my colleagues, my grandchild will get to live in a world that respects and honors their mother's marriage, he said. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi told the crowd that inside maneuvering only takes us so far, and she thanked activists, adding impetus with your impatience, your persistence, and your patriotism. Despite Tuesday's excitement, there was concern about the nationwide proliferation of far-right Republican policies on gender issues at the state level. Biden criticized the callous, cynical laws introduced in the states targeting transgender children, terrifying families and criminalizing doctors who gave children the care they need. Racism, anti-Semitism, homophobia, transphobia, they're all connected, Biden said, but the antidote to hate is love. The new law is intended to safeguard gay marriages if the U.S. Supreme Court ever reverses Obergefell v. Hodges, its 2015 decision legalizing same-sex unions nationwide. The new law also protects interracial marriages. In 1967, the Supreme Court, in Loving v. Virginia, struck down laws in 16 states barring interracial marriage. Fanatical supporters of Brazil's outgoing president, Jair Bolsonaro, have torched cars and buses and tried to storm the federal police headquarters in the country's capital in what one commentator called a botched attempt to spark a January 6-style turmoil. The violence erupted on Monday evening after the left-wing politician who defeated Bolsonaro in October's historic election, former President Lula da Silva, had his victory officially ratified by Brazil's electoral court. Several hours later, hardcore Bolsonaro fans, who want the result overturned, rampaged through the heart of Brasilia after a member of their radical group was arrested for allegedly trying to incite violence that would prevent Lula from being sworn in on the 1st of January. Extremists, mainly wearing the yellow Brazil shirts that symbolize the president's far-right movement, confronted security forces outside a federal police headquarters. Police used stun grenades and tear gas to disperse the crowd. The outbreak of violence has sparked fears that there could be further upheaval in the lead-up to Lula's inauguration. A massive storm blowing across the country spawned tornadoes that wrecked homes and injured a handful of people in parts of Oklahoma and Texas, including the Dallas-Fort Worth area, as much of the central United States from the Rocky Mountains to the Midwest braced yesterday for blizzard-like conditions. An area stretching from Montana into western Nebraska and Colorado was under blizzard warnings, and the National Weather Service said as much as 2 feet of snow was possible in some areas of western South Dakota and northwestern Nebraska. Ice and sleet were expected in the eastern Great Plains. The storm system was expected to hobble the upper Midwest with ice, rain and snow for days, as well as move into the northeast and central Appalachians, with snow and freezing rain by late Wednesday, forecasters said. The severe weather threat also continues today for Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and the Florida Panhandle, according to the Storm Prediction Center in Norman, Oklahoma. In the south, a line of thunderstorms that moved across North Texas and Oklahoma in the early morning hours brought tornadoes, damaging winds, hail, and heavy rain. Authorities yesterday reported dozens of damaged homes and businesses and several people injured in the suburbs and counties stretching north of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. The Weather Service was examining about a dozen different areas across North Texas on Tuesday to determine if the damage was caused by high winds or tornadoes. A tornado warning prompted the Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport, located near Grapevine, a shelter-in-place order on Tuesday morning, asking passengers to move away from windows. More than 1,000 flights into and out of area airports were delayed, and over 100 flights were cancelled. You can subscribe to 5-Minute News on YouTube with your preferred podcast app. Ask your smart speaker or enable 5-Minute News as your Amazon Alexa flash briefing skill. Subscribe, rate and review online at 5minute.news. 5-Minute News is an Evergreen podcast covering politics, inequality, health and climate, delivering independent, unbiased and essential world news daily.